on Monday within literally minutes of President Trump showing up at his new office, the beautiful Oval Office. He did a more than 60-minute press conference, taking questions from the press, providing them with honest answers. The following day, he did another press conference in the Roosevelt Room at the White House. And then yesterday, he did his first sit-down interview that aired on Fox News last night. So this is exactly the type of truth and transparency the American people deserve.
Yes. And the Fox News White House correspondent Peter Doocy this morning said President Trump has taken and answered more questions in the last 3 days than Joe Biden did in the preceding year. Just in case you haven't been paying close attention, and that would be understandable, to be sure. Good Thursday to you, and welcome back. We are at 888-630-9625. We have all kinds of hijinks going on Capitol Hill as well. The process of confirming President Trump's cabinet and his senior officials in the Senate. We've got a left-wing Republican, Rhino Lisa Murkowski, Republican Senate swing vote, telling CNN that she has concerns about Pete Hegseth. She's not going to say how she'll vote on this key confirmation process today. Come on, Lisa, join your own team. How about that? I know it's an individual sport, but it's also a team sport. Play for the team for a little while here. Let's get the ball rolling, shall we? We don't need DEI, transgender, military operation petticoat style, but never mind that. She will explain later, she says, and she's talking to CNN about it. Longtime Rhino, Lisa Murkowski, she could still redeem herself, perhaps, but we shall see. A lot going on, and again, President Trump, not only has he answered more questions, reporters' questions, in the last 72 hours than Joe Biden has in the last year, maybe the last 2, maybe the last 3 years. He never really did anything as president except oversee, a new war in Europe, nuclear power. Russia and Ukraine gave up their nuclear weapons long ago. Maybe that was a big mistake, huh? Because Joe Biden's leadership, I'm making quotation marks with my fingers, will be renowned for generations to come, won't it? Just amazing stuff. I am telling you. Yes, sir. So wait a minute. I'm still trying to clear this up. So the Bidens, because the People magazine said the Bidens landed at Santa Barbara Airport and the people were there to come watch the plane land. But now the new report is the Bidens landed at Vandenberg, the Space Force base, no longer an Air Force base because President Trump created the Space Force. Joe Biden created war in Europe and war in the Middle East and an open border, war against the American people. Joe Biden not on our side. I am telling you. So, crazy time. Now, I guess he had to motorcade from there. No more helicopters for him once he landed in California. It's not like he's president of the United States or anything like that. And by the way, there's a big cold blast coming down from Canada. When will we hold Canada responsible? When will Canada finally be held accountable for all the cold they send our way and the hockey players and the comedians? Okay, they can continue to send the comedians and the hockey players too, but never mind that. The cold blast, and Democrats are, of course, tell you this is global warming. No, it's climate change. Yeah, but isn't climate change global warming? Well, only in the summertime. In the winter time, in the northern hemisphere, climate change is extra cold, and we had a dusting of snow, and we should all panic. It's never too early to panic, I got to tell you. So we got that going. Yes, we've got that going for us. Womp, 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 womp. I'm telling you. And the Democrats very upset about President Trump pardoning January 6th participants, protesters. And then that's what they call it, exercising their First Amendment right. And the Democrats are very upset. they're not upset that all the Democrats that rioted and burned and sacked and plundered and torched historic churches and injured thousands of police, not upset that those people didn't get long jail sentences. It's kind of funny. It's almost like they're hypocrites. It's almost like they live double standards. Oh, yeah, that's because they do. They live the double standard. Aren't they amazing? All right, and we got a little of that the bishop from the Washington National Cathedral. We played somebody on our TV show last night, and she continues to do the media rounds. She went on The View, and she went on CNN, and who's she on today? Oh, Rachel Maddow. Went on Rachel Maddow. The poor Rachel took a pay cut from $30 million a year to $25 million a year. How's she going to get by? Don't they know that she's WOC and an LGBTQ? Come on, cut her pay? What? She's not a WOC? No, she's not. She's a woman of Caucasian heritage. WOCH. She's a woman of Caucasian heritage. So she's because WOC for Democrats is woman of color. And then she's an LGBTQ, but let's face it, she's an L. Really, she's just L. And everybody loves L's, but she's an L. And the thing is, L's are also G, aren't they? And then if she gets real flexible, she could be B. Probably not T unless she dresses funny. And Q, that doesn't even mean anything anymore. Now that's queer, which used to be a slur, but now they like it. The Democrats, they've got a lot of mental issues. All right, now let's get to the big interview with President Trump because this is a big deal, kind of a big deal. And President Trump's first actual news media interview since being inaugurated for the second time non-consecutively. And before I jump into that, I got to say there is another fire in California, another giant fire. And they're not putting them out real good because California is not what it used to be, not by a long shot. But let me hit this because this is pretty crazy. George Washington University here in Washington, D.C. It's named for our first president, George Washington. And I think it may be the most expensive university in the United States of America. Is that correct? I think that's correct. And if not, it's one of the most expensive, but I think it may be the most expensive. GW Debate. They have a debate society there, and they're having a debate. They're debating the Luigi Mangione murder. Why would they debate that? What's to debate about that? They're debating because the left is in charge, and they're communists, and communists murder everybody. It's what communists do. They kill, they steal, they destroy. But Luigi Mangione, as you may be aware, he murdered in New York City a CEO of a healthcare company because he was really angry about CEOs and about healthcare because the Democrat Party made him that way. And the 26-year-old Luigi Mangione became a charity case for the Democrats. They raised money for him. The Democrats raised money for him because he murdered a CEO, shot and killed him, right? Because that's what they do. And now the Democrats are still looking to free Luigi Mangione. Yahoo News today, how jury nullification could set Luigi Mangione free in United Healthcare CEO murder case. And the Democrats are hoping that the murderer who stalked and shot and killed a 50-something-year-old father of children, husband, and CEO had worked hard and kept his nose clean all his life, and he was murdered. And the Democrats are not quite sure how happy they should be about this. Just amazing stuff. And the CEO, Brian Thompson, murdered on the sidewalks of New York City by Luigi Mangione, who's not even a member of a decent organized crime family, just has a nice Italian name, comes from a nice family in Maryland, as a matter of fact. And the Democrats at George Washington University are having a debate today as to whether Luigi is a hero or just a criminal and a murderer. So the Washington Union Society debate is happening today at 7 p.m. at the George Washington University on 21st Street, close to the State Department, and the general body meeting of the Washington Union Society. And they're going to debate. The topic is this House would convict Luigi Mangione. And that's the question. Would you convict Luigi Mangione for murdering a perfectly innocent man on the sidewalks of New York by shooting him to death merely because he was, before you murdered him, the CEO of United Healthcare, of one of their companies. And because Democrats are not liberals, they're leftists, they're debating whether murder is good. And that means the left is really here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. They are the real left. They are not on our side at all. Not on the side of civilization. Just amazing stuff. Wah, wah, wah. And we've got, again, I'm keeping my ear to the ground on confirmation process and votes on Capitol Hill. And the House of Representatives passes Laken-Riley Act, sending the first bill to President Trump to be signed into law. This is the bill that in the Senate, 35 Democrats voted against it. All right, the first version of the bill in the House of Representatives, 159 Democrats voted against it because they don't care if young Laken-Riley was murdered by an illegal alien. They're fine with that. They want more rapists, more foreign illegal alien gang members murdering and assaulting in the United States, because the Democrat Party is not the party of civilization anymore. There's something else altogether. All right, now, as I said, let's go to soundbite number one. Sean Hannity talking to President Trump in his first sit-down interview. They like sit-down since taking the oath of office again, and he's done more interviews, taken more questions from more reporters than Joe Biden has in a year. President Trump talking to Hannity last night.
Joe Biden ran and said he would never do preemptive pardons. It was an issue that came up when you were leaving in your first time.
He heard that I was going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was given the option. They said, sir, would you like to pardon everybody, including yourself? I said, I'm not going to pardon anybody. We didn't do anything wrong. Most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him.
Now, there was President Trump saying, well, I didn't do anything wrong. Why would I take a pardon? But Joe Biden's whole family, a gang of criminals, a criminal enterprise. And that reminded me that on CNN yesterday, there was a Washington, D.C. police officer who was at January 6th, and he testified before the January 6th committee. And so he was automatically pardoned by Joe Biden. And this police officer went on CNN. His name is Daniel Hodges. Daniel Hodges went on CNN, and the dim-witted Caitlin Collins said, well, aren't you lucky President Biden pardoned you?
You testified with several other officers in front of the January 6th Congressional Committee. I don't know if you knew about this before, but President Biden, before he left office yesterday, issued a pardon for everyone on that committee, their teams who worked on that, and the officers who testified before the committee. How do you feel about getting that pardon from him?
How do you feel?
It's a lot of mixed emotions.
Mixed emotions.
Obviously, I'm grateful that President Biden thought of me in his final moments.
He didn't think of you. He just pardoned everybody. He doesn't know your name. You fell through the ceiling tiles. He wouldn't know who you were. Daniel Hodges, D.C. Metropolitan Police, pardoned by Joe Biden.
It's a novel sensation to receive a pardon when you haven't committed any crimes. And at the same time, I'm disinclined to accept it because I haven't committed any crimes. I haven't done anything wrong. And to accept, I know legally it's debatable, but in my mind, accepting a pardon is an admission of guilt.
It's an admission of guilt, and that's why the whole Biden family accepted pardons. And that's why all the members of the January 6th committee who destroyed evidence accepted the pardons, and criminals look to accept pardons. The police officer, Hodges, there is correct. I'm with him. Why would I accept a pardon? I hadn't done anything wrong. You know, two of the murderers on death row that Joe Biden pardoned or had their sentences commuted have refused the commutations because he said, two of the guys, their lawyers, said that would be an admission of guilt. I've been saying for years that I'm not guilty. I'm not going to accept a commutation, which implies that I'm guilty. But Joe Biden assumes everybody's guilty because he's projecting his own criminality, his family's own corruption onto everyone else. And that's why they all accepted the... I got more President Trump. I got the bishop. And I've got you at 888-630-9625. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Let's go back to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Craig, calling from the Commonwealth of Virginia. Craig, you are on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, thanks so much. Great to talk to you here. 24-year Marine. Just wanted to weigh in on the shutting down of DEI and what DOJ needs to look for. After I retired, I spent about 7 years in DOD at a pretty high level, so I've got a real good feel for how that bureaucracy works. I just wanted to maybe put a little note out there for everybody. First off, number one, there's a lot of great civil servants out there, so we want to give them credit for their good works. But sadly, they're not the majority. And the challenge is this, and that is that the bureaucrats up there are masters at shuffling the deck chairs. So as DEI goes away, we need to watch for them just popping up somewhere else. So we're not going to save any money there unless somebody really keeps a close eye on it. And similarly, when you talk about the DOJ going in and looking at stuff, they need to watch for the same thing. Again, these folks are masters at shuffling the deck chairs. It's not a matter of if. It's just they're going to do it, and we need to watch out for it.
Well, you're right. You know, thoroughly modern Milley, who had been the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and colluding with Chinese Communist General Lee, not of the Confederate States of America, but of the Communist Party. He left the military and immediately was assigned a job by Joe Biden on one of these panels, committees, you know, where he'd continue to collect a paycheck and not really have to do anything because Washington is a merry-go-round of government jobs to be handed out like chiclets on September 11th in the Gaza, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. That's a shame because the American people deserve better.
Yes, we do. And so you were in Pentagon. I'm running out the clock on you, but you were in the Pentagon for years. I spent 10 years in the Pentagon myself.
We may have crossed over there. I was there from 2004 to 2011. I got so sick and tired of it.
Like so many others, that you had to go back to real life. The Chinese communists have given Washington, D.C. Zoo pandas, two of those Chinese pandas. They never do anything. They just lay there in their own filth. I thought it might be fun to hose them down. If you gave me like a power washer or something, it'd be fun to hose down those Chinese communists. They're not even bears. Come on. They're not bears. They don't do anything. They never move. I like the red pandas. The red pandas at the zoo are a lot of fun. They're always doing stuff and climbing around. One of them escaped the zoo a couple of years ago and made its way to Adams Morgan, where there are a bunch of bars and people hanging out, pickup joints, stuff like that. And one of the red pandas escaped. That's more fun. The Chinese pandas, they just lay there on their backs thinking, well, I'm a communist. Somebody will bring me something to eat after a while. Boring. Oh, yeah, but they unleash, I guess the new pandas came on an airplane, and now they're going to go public tomorrow. Their coming out party for the new pandas is tomorrow. Does that mean they're gay, Michael, the pandas? How would you know? They never move enough they never do anything for the lava. Come on. Crazy. Yes, and today we're looking at the Pete Hegseth. We're looking at the Pete Hegseth confirmation today, right? And there may be 3 Republicans that are planning on voting against Pete Hegseth, the Turtle being one of them. Turtle Boy, Mitch McConnell. He took off his turtle shell and hung it on a hook on the back of the door and sat down and said, nope. Nope. Said, looks like he's not going to vote for Pete Hegseth because he wants, a transgender person or something like that. Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, typical Alaska and Maine rhinos, talking about voting against Pete Hegseth. Trump should get on the phone with him and tell him to vote correctly, to vote properly. That'd be fun. I think that'd be a good idea. Yes, sir. Wah, wah, wah. And it's kind of crazy. There are a couple of people who have been pardoned, January 6th people who have been pardoned by President Trump, who are rejecting the pardon. They got MAGA Granny, who is, I guess that explains everything you need to know. Convicted U.S. Capitol rioter turns down Trump pardon. One of the people who served jail time for taking part in the U.S. Capitol riot 4 years ago has refused a pardon from President Donald Trump, saying, "We were wrong that day. We were wrong that day," she said. Pamela Hemphill, who pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 60 days in prison, probably jail, told the BBC that there should be no pardons for the riot on January 6, 2021. Well, all the Democrats got preemptive pardons for the rioting in Washington, D.C., where they burned things, looted things, torched things, injured hundreds of police. Not a single jail sentence handed down. So I got to say, Pamela Hemphill, I admire your peculiar bravado, but and on some level, perhaps I do, but it's not equal justice under law. What we've got here is an equal justice under law crisis, an equal justice under law problem. So she said accepting a pardon would only insult the Capitol police officers, rule of law, and, of course, our nation. I pleaded guilty because I was guilty, and accepting a pardon also would serve to contribute to their gaslighting and false narrative. I don't know where this lady's coming from at all. She's all over the place. Hemphill, who was nicknamed the MAGA Granny by social media users in reference to Trump's Make America Great Again slogan. Oh, no kidding. Thanks. This is the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, said she saw the Trump government as trying to rewrite history, and I don't want to be part of that. We were wrong that day. We broke the law. There should be no pardons. Well, good for you, but now let me show you all of the rioters that the Democrats gave preemptive pardons to without ever even charging them with anything or arresting them, and some were arrested and then just let go immediately. And you remember Kamala was busy raising bail money, helping to raise bail money for the rioters, the looters, the arsonists, the people attacking the police. Never mind that. And also, New Hampshire man who chugged wine during Capitol riot rejects Trump's pardon. He chugged wine. Was that his crime, do you think? And was he convicted of drinking wine on a public property? Swansea. President Trump granted pardons to more than 1,000 Capitol rioters on Monday. WBZ spoke to 2 men from New England who had very different reactions to their names being cleared. Mike St. Pierre of Swansea would be the first to tell you that he regrets his part in the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021, but he's thankful he's not going to prison under President Trump's pardon to 1,500 rioters who attacked the Capitol, having hundreds of officers hurt. Well, again, that is really bad, and you shouldn't, and I said at the time and I say now, you assault police officers, you should be held accountable. 4 years later, people have been held accountable. 4 years later, the FBI and the federal sweep from coast to coast and even Alaska hunting down people that were on Capitol Hill January 6th, 2021. And boy, there's been an overabundance of accountability there. But again, when the FBI gets done rounding up the hundreds of rioters that attacked the White House in 2000, June 1st of 2000, the end of May 2000 for 3 days, injuring 160 to 180 police, forcing the evacuation of the president, setting fire to the Church of the Presidents, then we will have equal justice under law. And since not one of those people was sentenced to 1 day in prison, much less 60 days, much less 22 years in prison for Enrique Tarrio, who was literally in Baltimore on January 6th. But never mind that. Man, oh man, oh man. So I would just like to see some equal justice under law. Now, Jason Riddle of Keene, New Hampshire, says he does not want to be pardoned. Riddle admitted that he chugged a bottle of wine. He admitted that he chugged a bottle of wine as he went into the Capitol and stole a book on Senate procedure. See, now the Senate doesn't know what procedure is because he stole a book. Now, how many years in prison should you get for stealing a book on Senate procedure? How many years would you normally get if you stole it from a bookstore or from any place? He says he was struggling with alcohol. Well, it was a large bottle of wine, I've got to say. And the 90 days in prison with alcohol treatment saved his life. It's a horrible lesson for younger generations, said Riddle. The things I did January 6th, I did them, and a pardon is not to accept that, he said. That's why I'm not going to accept the pardon. I accept reality. I'm keeping my criminal record. Thank you, but no thank you. So he was having an alcoholism issue at the time, and he said he sobered up, and that's kind of nice. Now, with that, the criminal record, let's go to the Haitian illegal alien that was arrested yesterday. Where was the Haitian illegal alien arrested by? Because we've got ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, we've got the FBI, we've got the DEA involved in rounding up. See, here's the thing. These federal government agencies, they have known all along where these career criminal illegal aliens have been residing. They know where to find them. But the Biden Democrats, the Biden administration, the entire Democrat Party has been protecting career criminal illegal aliens from arrest because they want more crime. Boston, Massachusetts. They went and they arrested an illegal alien from Haiti, right? And he is a career criminal who just since coming illegally to the United States has been arrested, I think, 17 times. And the Democrats keep saying, oh, let's let him go because, we don't want to be mean just because he's a career criminal illegal alien who's victimizing Americans all over the place. But the Haitian illegal alien arrested in Boston saw a TV camera and he started yelling at the camera. And listen to what the illegal alien said. This is a local station in Boston who captured this moment.
I'm not going back to Haiti. Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
I'm sorry. Thank Obama and thank Biden forever for everything he did for me. Now, who's this guy and what's his background? What's he doing in Boston, Massachusetts? You might want to know. Is he eating dogs and cats?
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Gang member with 17 criminal convictions just in recent years, illegally in the country, and he's screaming at the cameras all kinds of obscenities and things.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Beep. Trump, cursing out Trump, cursing Trump, and thanking Biden for everything and thanking Obama because they love crime and criminals. And if you or someone you know has been a victim of terrible crime, was probably perpetrated by a Democrat whose parents are Democrats, who were let loose on the streets of whatever city you're in by the Democrats. But that's the illegal alien with 17 arrests, gang member being arrested in Boston, and the Democrats can't wait to let him go because they are a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state, and ICE has already rounded up hundreds of people across the country, not just in Boston, but hundreds have been rounded up in the last 2 days because ICE and other federal agencies have been champing at the bit to get to it, to do their jobs, to round up illegal alien gang members who are victimizing Americans. And the news media is very upset about it. They're angry about it. NPR and the rest. Trump orders end of humanitarian parole for migrants in 4 countries. It's humanitarian parole. That is, you let all the gang members go in the United States. Aren't they amazing? And Trump did away with that. And he's also doing away with the open border policy. And he's reinstating Remain in Mexico policy. And I gotta say, and he's ending DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion offices in federal government buildings. Your Democrat Party. All right, now let's get back to President Trump and it's just playing the Sean Hannity interviewing President Trump, and he said, well, why didn't you pardon yourself and your own family when you were leaving last time around, like Joe Biden did? And President Trump, well, because I didn't commit any crimes, and nobody in my family committed any crimes, but Joe Biden's whole family committed a bunch of crimes. Then Jake Tapper on CNN. Has he been laid off yet? The Jake Tapper on CNN, he is talking about, well, at this point, talking to Joe Biden, and this is in December of 2020. Jake Tapper was interviewing Joe Biden about pardons for people important to Joe Biden.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you?
Considering, but didn't.
All these preemptive pardons?
All these.
Well, it concerns me in terms of it, what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons.
That's exactly what we saw. President Trump did not pardon anyone in his family or any of his associates, any of his allies, any people in a mass pardon the way you did, like a third world banana boat maroon that you are. But Jake Tapper, he was bristling. Can you believe Trump is considering pardons? And then it didn't happen because it would have been an outrage. And Jake Tapper has not come on the TV since Joe Biden pardoned all these people to say, yeah, this is truly outrageous, just like I said in 2020, because were it not for double standards, Jake Tapper would have no standards at all. Back to Sean Hannity talking last night to President Trump.
People say to me, they see a change in you. Do you believe you've changed? Is this, for example, increased your faith in God?
Yes, I think so. I don't think I've changed, but I think that has taken place, yeah. Because when you look at statistically, I should never be here. I mean, if I don't turn I'm looking at an immigration chart, my favorite chart ever in history.
When he was shot through the ear.
Even if the numbers were bad, I would.
I mean, we're talking about assassination, and you're telling jokes.
No, can you believe it?
But it's terrible.
Yeah, and he said, listen, I was almost, the back of my head was almost blown off. Had I not just turned my head slightly to the right, that bullet would have taken off the back of my head.
I remember that day like
when I turned, and it had to be at an exactly 90-degree angle. And I said, throw down the chart or something to that effect. And they bring the chart, and I'm literally looking exactly at the right angle. I couldn't have even been a little further or a little bit less. It would have whacked, because it was 1/8 of an inch.
That is fact, Jack. Had he not turned his head, and I observed that the moment it happened, the moment I saw the video, shortly after it happened. My best girl and I were down on the waterfront enjoying cocktails when it happened. Made our way to a television set quickly, and I said, boy, that was missed it by that much. I'm holding my left index finger 1/2 inch over my right thumb, just like that. I'm telling you. President Trump is great. And it's true, he is kind of the new President Trump. He is calmer, more focused, more mellow, less unfocused. And he said, yeah, you get a little spoonful of religious faith after watching that video a couple of times. And he said, I don't think I've changed, but yeah, I got some faith, I'll tell you that much. And I can certainly see why. John Penitentiary Face Brennan went naturally on MSDNC yesterday to complain about President Trump stripping him of his security clearance, which will reduce his income prospects very significantly. And he lied. And Andrea Mitchell is too dumb or too dishonest, just sitting there nodding in agreement, winking. They're going to go to Martha's Vineyard together and shack up. They, honestly, what a disgrace. And I've got that for you coming up. I'm going to play some of that for you. And more President Trump as well. Right now, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Donna, calling from Anderson, South Carolina. Donna, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, you know what? You know this stuff that they're talking about that Sean Hannity asked Trump about, the only issue he had with pardoning the J6ers was the ones that had committed violence against the police?
Uh-huh.
Well, I talked to the mother of one of the J6ers who was supposed to be going into jail to serve a term and pay fines and so forth. And some of the charges of violence against the police are merely if the cops swung a bat or shoved one of the J6ers and they tried to defend themselves and their arm touched the cop or, whatever, just any contact with the police, they're charging some of that as violence.
Right. Well, and I know that my friend Brent Bozell and his wonderful family, his son, L. Brent Bozell IV, was thrown into prison for years, and he never touched a police officer. There was video of everything, and he never assaulted a police officer. They lie about everything. They lie and they lie.
It is. It's disgusting. And the other thing, did you hear on the J6ers last night when they were gathered outside of D.C. that after Trump pardoned them, there was one man who could not hear without his hearing aids? This is after they've been pardoned, and they did the sit-in and refused to go back into the cells. They tried to order him, and the guards were ticked off because they wouldn't go back in. One man, they took his hearing aids away from him and told him that he would only be allowed back his hearing aids if he detached himself.
Wah, wah, wah.